Hello, and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. It is October 13th, 2024. This is episode 291. Stand-up comedian, actor, improviser, and dreamer, Paul Green coming to you. And if you are watching this on YouTube, you might notice something. That is a slight adjustment from about my past 100 episodes, and that is I'm on video, everybody. That's right. I am back on video. If you watch these on YouTube, you will have observed that I pretty much just do an audio track and then I just do a static graphic, which is kind of what Bill Burr does with his podcast when he puts them on YouTube. And I've been doing that for the last little while, and there's a reason I've been doing that, and that reason is pure and simple laziness. Because what had happened was, everybody, I set a goal in November of 2023 last year. That was redundant. November 2023 last year. Wait, which 2023 was it? Was it 2023 of 2 years ago or the last year one? All right, it was end of November 2023. I had this big surge of ambition and inspiration to start a podcast, to start being a lot more aggressive on my social media. And I made a goal that I wanted to do a daily podcast of me just talking through my journey, talking through what I'm experiencing, all the ups and downs, talk about me going for my dreams, what I'm learning about myself, and pursuing dreams and all of that. And I decided to do it daily. Now, why daily? Is it because I am convinced that the world needs to hear me do a podcast every day? Not at all. It was actually for pure self-challenging reasons. That makes sense. I was observing my strength and weaknesses as a human. And one thing I'm pretty good at having big dreams. I'm pretty good at, having big ideas, kind of jumping in on things. What I'm not good at is consistent daily follow through on anything. And that's just been my challenge with myself. I have set so many goals in my life. Creative goals, financial goals, health goals, workout goals, dieting goals, writing goals, open mic goals. It's really quite remarkable how many goals I have set in my life, and how many of those goals just ended up going by the wayside. And one thing that I really, really wanted to challenge myself to do was to challenge myself to do something every single day that was a little challenging, right? I didn't want it to be super easy, but not so ridiculous that it would be like impossible to accomplish. Like, I'm going to run 10 miles every day. And doing a daily podcast was really an opportunity for me to challenge myself to do something in the creative space, in the comedy space, in the social media online space, and just see if I could pull it off daily. And I did really, really well for a long time. What ended up happening, which I think is the case with any goal, you're excited to start out, and then, life gets in the way, the monotony of it, me like just hopping on the camera every single day and just talking about myself. Don't misunderstand. I have a pretty healthy ego. But, there would just be days where it'd be like, nothing happened today. What am I even going to talk about, right? All the head trash starts coming in, all of the negative talk, all of the excuses, all the justification starts coming in. And initially when I was doing this podcast, I would actually do video. I did video almost every day, with few exceptions. And it got to the point of about 3 months ago, where, I don't know, I just had a bunch of travel going on. Life got a little crazy, as it always does. And then I missed my first day where I had been so good. I should go back and look, like the first time that I actually missed posting a day, right? So then it's like, well, there's another goal. Like my goal was every day for a year. I wanted to do 365 straight episodes, right? So then it's a lot easier to just be like, well, I already missed one day, so I already didn't do the goal. So now what's even the point? And around that time, I also just got burnt out of having to be on camera all the time, because sometimes it would be like 2 a.m. I'd be exhausted. Sometimes I'd literally be like laying in bed and just going, I didn't do my podcast today. Do I really want to get up, make myself camera ready? Which, this just doesn't happen. Okay, I have to work at it. Do I want to do all that, or do I just want to pull out my phone, throw on the voice recorder, and it makes the production of this, which I'm not doing a lot of production, let's be honest, but even then it makes it so much easier. And so then I just started doing audio, and then that became habitual, and then it got to the point to where I was missing days fairly regularly. I would miss a day. I'd missed a couple days. There was times I missed like 3 days. And, then the old battle with self really started kicking in, and just, oh, look at this. You're not keeping the goal. You're not even really doing the video. Why don't you just quit? You listen nothing. Why don't you just quit? Because I got no place else to go. So anyway, I have been grappling with all that, and so, that was the lull. That was the lull point. And then I was still popping out episodes, but I was just only doing audio, except I had a couple of interview episodes where I would, had somebody else on the podcast that I'd do video. So anyway, why tonight am I back on video? And a lot of it just has to do with, I have been reading a couple self-help books over the last couple of months, all about mindset and positivity. And wouldn't you know it, I'm starting to be more cognizant of my mindset and my positivity and my ambition and my energy, and how am I showing up, and how am I processing things, and how am I pursuing my dreams, and with what sort of ambition and what actions am I taking. And it occurred to me, you want to know what? I need to start popping on video more often than not. For no other reason than it's just a little harder. And not hard because I don't believe in hard for hard's sake, but I do believe in putting more effort, if possible, into what it is that you're pursuing. And to be a little more intentional. Being on video with the podcast is a little more intentional than just doing it on audio. And ironically enough, I still post the audio version of this on all of the podcast platforms out there. So most people listening to this, if they're listening to it at all, are probably not even watching the YouTube video. But those who are watching, and those who are watching the YouTube video probably aren't even really watching me anyway. They probably just have it on in the background or whatever, right? But it's not about that. It's about intentionality, and it's about energy, and it's about putting more passion and heart into whatever it is that we're doing, regardless of whether that heart, passion, or intention has an immediate, obvious payoff. And that is something that I have been a lot more cognizant when I look at my mindset is, have I adapted a mindset of, well, I'm going to take the easy road because taking the hard road doesn't seem to have a relative better outcome. That makes sense. And I don't know. I don't like that mindset within myself. I think that is a less inspiring, a less enthusiastic, a less fulfilling mindset than being like, no, can I put a little bit more into this? Can I just be a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more intentional, a little bit more, put a little bit more effort in? When possible. It's like, find ways to be more intentional and put more effort instead of finding ways to be lazy and cut corners. So anyway, that's why I'm back on video. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed this. So I have my sign up here, my Paul Green Comedy logo. And you might notice that I have that same logo embroidered on this shirt. And guess who did this? My mom did this, everybody. My mom painstakingly, without my knowledge, hacked that logo somehow, probably just did it visually because she's a genius, and then embroidered that logo right into this shirt. And she did that, was it for my birthday or was it for Christmas, Mom? I don't remember. Some holiday. It was either Jesus' birthday or mine, which is pretty much the same thing. Oh boy. Okay. Forgive the casual blasphemy. So, I'll tell you what, everybody. I feel this renewal of energy, this renewal of ambition. I've got so many things happening right now with my dreams. Tomorrow, I'm flying out to Iowa to act in a movie that is written and produced by my comedy partner, Josh Novi. Super fun. This Thursday, I'm doing a self-produced improv comedy show at JP's Comedy Club. And so excited. The owner of the club asked me if I would just put together an improv show. And you know me. You know that improv is my jam. Improv is how I got my start as a comedian. I didn't start doing stand-up until I'd been doing improv for almost 7 years. I was actually terrified to do stand-up. And stand-up is still so much harder for me to feel good and confident about. Improv, I can do it in my sleep. Stand-up, yeah. So I'm going to be doing that this Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be back at JP's doing stand-up. So how fun is that I get to do improv one night, and then 4 straight stand-up shows at JP's Comedy Club. I have been finally starting to write and work out some new material. Speaking of JP's, I had an opportunity to do an open mic at his comedy club on Thursday night, and he kind of just let me go for longer than most comics would get to go. So I was really grateful for that. And I just had a list of about 7 or 8 different premises and they were just ideas I'd been mulling around. I initially had intended to really actually flesh them out and really try to go into the open mic with more of a idea of how these ideas were going to play out. That didn't end up happening. So I was like, I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to give them all the energy that I have. The crowd was incredibly awesome. And I got, and I riffed and played around with them a lot. And I let them know exactly what I was doing. I was like, everybody, this is an open mic, so I'm going to try a brand new material. Is that cool? They were all cool. And anytime a joke didn't work, I would riff with them for a while. So we were still having lots of fun, even though they weren't getting a polished, tried and true stand-up routine. But what I did today, though, was I ended up having a lot of extra time today, and I was able just to go hang out. What I like to do is I just like to go to a restaurant. I like to get my notebook. I like to put on my earpods and then just start writing. And I had recorded the set that I did, the open mic set that I did. So I was able to play that back and listen and be like, okay, where was I getting laughs? Where wasn't I? And how can I actually take the bits that seem to have life, even though they were unrefined, and start to pin those down and maybe start trying to incorporate some of those jokes in a piecemeal fashion this weekend. So lots going on there. On top of that, I had another commercial audition in Los Angeles, which is cool. I'm very fortunate. I have an agent in Los Angeles who still gets me auditions for commercial work that's filming out in LA. I also have an agent here in Arizona who's gets me commercial auditions, and so I had filmed 2 commercial auditions, one for LA and one for Arizona this week. Super, super fun. And on top of all of that, I am also working hard at my 2-person comedy show, the Midlife Crisis comedy show that I do with my comedy partner, Josh Novi. And we have 2 big shows coming up that I have been knee-deep in marketing and advertising and working with Facebook ads, trying to figure out how to optimize ads, and been getting some help with a guy I found at Upwork. He's been really fantastic. His name is Jack, and he has a very sophisticated British accent, so he already sounds smarter than maybe he really is. But every day he'll send me a little bit. He'll be like, all right, Paul, so I was looking at the numbers here, and it seems like, we've got a pretty good click-through rate on this ad, but, I think the algorithm there is still just trying to really parse out, what ads are going to perform best. And so what I did is I created another campaign, and then I just put a smaller budget on maybe the ads that would get him so much allocation of the budget. And he just I'm like, this guy sounds really smart. And I think he actually is. As a matter of fact, I spent several hours this weekend building a custom landing page for one of our shows. And we just launched that landing page. And we just sold 2 more tickets tonight to the new landing page. What? So that has been really the name of the game for me, is trying to figure out how to produce and sell tickets to my own show. So with all of that, everybody, the dream is alive. I am having the time of my life. I feel so fortunate for the incredible people in my life who are loving me and supporting me, and all good things. So also, what I have been doing, which has been really exciting, is commentating specifically on the books that I'm reading that are in line with pursuing dreams. Kind of gets a little self-helpy. If you're not into self-help, I get it. I have my skepticisms as well, but I am trying to not be as skeptical, because that's also a mindset. That's a choice. And the less skeptical that I can be, and the more ambitious and hopeful and ambitious, which I'm not a fan of blind ambition, blind faith, I guess. I do think there is such a thing as growth and progress in moving towards a dream. I do know a lot of the self-helpy stuff can get a little more snake oil salesman and a little less effective tools and strategies and mindsets that will influence somebody or one's self to go out and accomplish great things. So the magic mindset, today's chapter was all about relationships, having a magic mindset in relationships, which it really just sort of turned into kind of a basic kind of like relationship advice chapter. I didn't really find anything too mind-blowing in it. It was just all about effective communication and learning how to talk and communicate in your relationships, and about communicating needs, and learning the currency that the people in your life use to give and receive love. The 5 Love Languages was a very popular book. Back in the day, it's like, well, if somebody's love language is physical touch, but you are gifts, then somebody might think giving gifts to the physical touch person will make them feel loved. But they're going, well, why? Yeah, they give me all these gifts, but they aren't hugging me enough, or like whatever it is, right? And so the book talked a lot about that, which I think is very effective and very important. Always good to be reminded of that stuff. And I really just started to think about relationships, not just romantic, but business, professional, comedic, familial. And to me, I probably learned this a little too late, or I'm learning it a little too late, which is just how important it is to be selective with the people who you give your time and energy to, and who give their time and energy in return. And I think probably one of the hardest things for me to learn in my life is being okay walking away from relationships. I think I have a tendency to be a little more clingy, a little more romantic. And I don't mean romantic in a, I mean romantic in terms of perhaps an unrealistic expectation that everybody who I interact with, who I desire to have a relationship with, will not only desire that relationship with me, but that relationship will be good for me. And I just don't mean romantic relationships. Sorry, that was a little confusing. I mean the romantification, the romanticizing of relationships, whether those relationships actually are romantic relationships. Friendships, business relationships, etc. And sometimes it is necessary and important to just realize that perhaps a relationship is no longer symbiotic, and perhaps it is not in the best interest of either party to maybe continue investing in that relationship. Sometimes that's really hard and it's heartbreaking, and I've had a couple of those heartbreaking experiences where I had to just go, you want to know what? I would love for this situation to be different. I would love to still be working with, this person, or, still be friends with that person, or whatever it is. And sometimes it's just not in the cards. And again, my tendency in the past was to just hang on and to try to make things work, and to always try to, maybe ignore the writing on the wall. And what I have found is I have been more willing to go you want to know what? I'm not being treated well in this situation, or this energy is just not in alignment. I need to just move on. The more I have been willing to do that, and to do so with as much compassion and kindness as possible. I'm not a fan of, drama or cruelty or meanness or anything like that. And by the way, not every relationship that needs to end needs to be, toxic or, anything like that. Sometimes it's mutual, or sometimes it's just, you just grow apart and you just kind of stop talking and you realize it's been a couple of years. But the more I've been willing to deliberately take stock and inventory of the relationships in my life that I'm choosing to foster, and being willing to move on from past relationships, what I have found is it leaves space for better, more fulfilling, and exciting, joyful, symbiotic, mutually beneficial relationships. And in this year alone, I started the 2-person show with Josh Noby. I'd known Josh Noby for a while, but when I met him, it didn't occur to me that he was the type of person and comedian and just human being that I would want to partner with. And it wasn't my idea to begin with. He reached out to me. He reached out to me. He called me first. Yeah. He asked me out first. But now I've sort of hitched my significant wagon of mine. I have several wagons. But now we're doing this 2-person show together, and we've invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy into making this show really be something that can grow and can be special. And, that's a relationship that I cherish. And had I not, perhaps been willing to dispense with some other relationships that, maybe weren't as symbiotic, maybe I wouldn't have been open to that. And that's happening a lot lately. My relationship with my, I call it my local, my hometown comedy club, which is JP's Comedy Club, which has really just become sort of my home club where I feel loved and welcome and appreciated there. And, I have a great relationship with the owners, and they support me and give me so many great opportunities. Even romantically, I've been in a very fulfilling romantic relationship, which has, helped me, realize a lot of trauma. That didn't actually sound as positive as I intended it to. It's been very healing because our relationship is very loving and very open, and so it allows us to communicate and to be open, and then start realizing when we're feeling a certain way that, there's something traumatic or something, that happened in our past or whatever that, maybe has some triggers still associated with it, but we're in a position to where we can, be ourselves and express that and be open about what's going on. And it's all good. And so, mindset and relationships. That's been something that has definitely not been my strong suit for most of my adult life, and I still got a long ways to go. So just what is the mindset of a happy relationship? And what I am finding is it's relationships where you have the mindset of, this is a person who I appreciate, I'm grateful for, they appreciate and are grateful for me, and we're not trying to take anything from each other. We're not trying to push each other down so that I can elevate. It's two people who genuinely want what's best for each other. And it just so happens that the goals and dreams of one person are in alignment with the goals and dreams of the other person, and that they can put mutual energy and effort into the relationship, which, rising tides lifts all ships. And that to me requires a certain mindset and a certain commitment to a mindset of positivity, a mindset of going in a relationship to give what comes naturally to give and what comes organically to give. And the person is able to receive that naturally or organic, and what feels natural and organic for them to give in return is also received naturally or organically. So that's the mindset of relationships, everybody. So that was today's chapter in the Magic Mindset. And that is today's episode, back on video, of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast, stand-up comedian, actor, improviser, and dreamer. Go out there and get those dreams, everybody. I believe in you. I believe in you. And I hope whatever you're going through in your life, whatever you're going for is going well. You're finding inspiration. You're finding joy, fulfillment, happiness in whatever it is that you're out there pursuing. So this is the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast, October 13th, 2024, episode 291, which, by the way, I need to mention this because I started missing a couple of days. I added it up and I realized I've missed about 26 days out of about, so 365 days would have been at the end of next month, right? So I'm about 365 days minus 50 or so. I already did all of this math on a previous episode. Boring. So my new goal, since I didn't get my every single day for a year goal, my goal is to go from here until 365 episodes without missing a day. So I started this goal about 5 days ago, I think. So I'm about 5 days in. This is 291. So my goal is to go from 291 to 365. So 65 plus 9. So I got 74 more episodes, 74 straight days without missing a podcast. I'm not going to promise video, but I'm definitely going to challenge myself to do a lot more video because I already love the energy. I can already tell that I'm a lot more. It's just a different energy. I don't know why. Doesn't make sense. But that's the reality. All right, everybody. That's it for today. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening to the Paul Green Comedy Podcast, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.